Hey, so things have shifted significantly for the more pleasant, the more grounded, the less frantic, the less dark. And I wrote a note to someone who has apparently been through this before. And I say apparently because we don't really ever know what anybody else has actually gone through. We only have words, and words are pretty small. But I'll just say apparently she's gone through it already. And so I'll read the note I sent to her and comment on it a little bit. So yeah, things got a bit dark for a while. Maybe the burnt scrapings on the bottom of the soup pot that Adyashanti talked about, and the soup pot of trauma where maybe you eat the soup and think you're done, and then you realize there's like crap, just burnt, sticky like stuff, hard, crusty in the bottom or the sides or whatever. Um, with nothing for the mind to hang on to, it seemed to go to the darkest places it could find. And I didn't even make a video about how dark it got, and I probably won't, but it was dark. It was very, very dark. It was all the darkest thoughts I could have, all the things that I was afraid I would think if I went through with this. And so I thought them, and whatever, it's a thought, life goes on, right? Doesn't mean anything. Anyway, yeah, and going into the body felt pretty awful too. So it was like a rock in a hard place. Like I don't want to go into thoughts. I don't know about my body. Where else is there to go? Because the body was just like felt like nasty burnt scrapings everywhere. Something shifted, and I think it honestly might have been I got some. Angela had a Q&A, and basically, I typed my question in, whatever, how like dark and difficult things were, and he was just like, "Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's gonna do what it's gonna do. Hang in there." And I was like, "Yeah, that's probably it. That's probably the only advice anyone can give. Just keep existing. Let life work through you." And I think that also sort of, in a way, jarred me out of thoughts being so sticky, because it's like it just kind of, it was easier to take a breath when things got dark or difficult or whatever feeling I had. I didn't have to interpret it. It's just happening. I didn't have to interpret it. I didn't have to act on it. I didn't have to figure it out. I didn't have to fix it. It's just happening. That's it. You hear it a billion times, but then when things get difficult enough, then you forget. But anyway, so yeah, thoughts and questions and worries are more easily allowed without being so sticky. Same with sensations in the body. It's unclear what shifted, but instead of swirling in a dark and painful void, it's more like breathing through a colorful mystery. I have no idea who I am. There's a sense of being dynamically stuck in vast, colorful amber, and also feeling like a curious child, like just wandering around, looking at stuff, like waiting for an impulse to strike sometimes. Like I thought earlier in the day about doing a video, but then something else came along, and now when the impulse came, here I am. So it all kind of lined up at this particular moment. Um, yeah, if something's not right in front of me right now, it doesn't exactly exist. It's just like, yeah, anyway. Yet strangely, I still have duties, responsibilities, and relationships. I have no idea what will happen with all that. The future is blank in a way that was exciting in my adventurous 20s, but now feels a bit like, well, like being in my 20s and my 40s. Following my nose and doing what comes naturally, even if it makes no sense. You know that line from the Tao Te Ching, can you remain unmoving until the right action arises of itself? Um, the line before that, can you can you manage to stay still long enough for the mud to settle and the water to become clear? And then can you remain unmoving until the right action arises of itself? I don't know if the right actions are arising. I don't know anything, but it feels in a way more natural and also in a way like I'm just twiddling my thumbs. But perhaps simply steeping in this is enough right now. Maybe this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. It's possible. But yeah, my culture says this is immature and selfish and ridiculous. And lately I've been craving a lot of solitude, which feels irresponsible with regard to my husband and kids and everything going on in the world. And I can't explain it to anyone around me. And this puts me in mind of how indigenous cultures were gaslit about how their beliefs and their experiences were stupid and heathenistic and superstitious and satanic, and we Westerners, we have the answers. Uh, we need to control everything, including you. And here's how you can learn to be like us, obsessed with control, stuck in your mind. And that conditioning, I mean, that dies hard. I mean, I'm not just an indigenous person who was treated like that. I am that. I am that Western person. Um, or at least a descendant of those Western people who came here with a mindset of control, um, domination, rejection of anything that inconvenienced or uh, confused us in our Cartesian view of the world. So being in this space, it feels like being a baby in a way. And if someone came along and smacked me and said, this is stupid, you don't know what you're talking about, I wouldn't have an argument. I wouldn't be able to reason them out of it. They'd be able to argue so many circles around me. And if they also had a gun, they stole my children and indoctrinated them. Taught that self-hatred that Westerners are so good at. In a way, I already have the Westerner background. I've already done all that. I've already seen to the end of that. So it wouldn't be as, wouldn't necessarily be easy to, I'm not saying it was easy to indoctrinate Native peoples. I mean, we steal people's children, vulnerable children, That's really horrific. And in a way, every Western child is stolen in the sense that they are indoctrinated into self-hatred as vulnerable children. Self-hatred, disconnection, and so on. Stolen from a birthright of wonder, connection, joy, appreciation, acceptance. And that is smacked right out of us. Anyway, yeah, I mean, even now it's difficult because I can't explain it to anyone. I can't, within the Western construct, prove the value of this. It's not of that nature. So it can feel illusory or wispy, uh, insubstantial in the face of that relentless Western logic, that closed system of domination at all costs. I keep hoping it will all be worth it, and my husband will see me pop out the other side, a more grounded and loving person. Like because I say the past 10 days, I've been just in a dark place, wanting to be alone. That's that sucks when you have a family. It really does. Um, but I don't know that for sure. I don't know I'm ever gonna get to some place where he sees the value of this, or even I see the value of it my life as it is. I don't know anything. And I do kind of wonder if my husband has always lived like this, because he's such a chill guy. And he's always been kind of baffled by my neuroses, like not in an unkind way. He's very supportive. I could just see him kind of puzzled by the ways I've been reactive in the past. Like he just genuinely doesn't understand it. Yet he accepts me anyway. And that has always baffled me. Like, how can someone accept another person so completely, even with such glaring flaws? Because I was raised to be so critical and judgmental of myself and others. Um, but yeah, it's a bit intimidating to have so little idea what's going on or what will happen or what will come of it or why or anything, really. And I sense there are still parts a bit locked up, and I don't know what will happen as they unravel. It feels more and more like the rubber is actually hitting the road, and I can't hide anywhere anymore. Can't hide from ignorance, from uncertainty, from the unknown, from whatever my body might feel or do. And yeah, like that cultural legacy of doubt. A part of me still believes I'm making this up or doing it wrong. Part of me doesn't believe it's enough just to exist and do what comes naturally to me, to this. Part of me can't take myself seriously with this being my main interest right now. And I took a very small amount of mushrooms the other night, and it was unexpectedly strong. And what I kept saying to the teacher was, I don't know how to be a serious person. I don't know how to take myself, as something, like words are hard. Something real, something serious. Like, okay, yeah, it's not really serious and I'm not really real. But there's some middle ground between dismissing myself as something that doesn't matter, that's just not worthy, and being too heavy about things. I don't want to just space out, dissociate, pretend. Pretend what? That thoughts are more important than what they point to? That somebody else's ideas are more real than my own experiences. My own experiences, by the way, I mean, there's a very well-known power of suggestion where somebody can say something and then you think you experience it, whether it's speaking in tongues or being hypnotized or uh, feeling electrified by the Holy Spirit, which might just be Kundalini sometimes, who knows. But the point is, you can get in somebody else's field of beliefs or thoughts or whatever and start to incorporate them as your own, and then start to feel like your experiences are just whatever they said. So to what extent am I just brainwashing myself with all of this? Or, yeah, making it up? I mean, it's like, if you boil it down, it's you basically stop filtering experience through thoughts. And then you're just kind of this lump of sensation. And things kind of happen based on the previous momentum and apparent choices at a given time. I don't know if it's a real choice or not. And how is it really different? I mean, what's the difference? Like, probably it looks about the same. Is anybody going to be able to tell the difference? Not that that's the measure, but it's just like, it's so strange that you work hard for something you want to. I mean, they tell you it's like you don't get anything from it, and I get that. They tell you, I mean, but it's kind of like, then what's the point? Because not that I necessarily care about me getting anything, but it's going to be beneficial to humanity as a whole somehow. I don't know, what the hell does beneficial mean? Maybe just a lucky relative few get to just experience life with less doubt, less fear, less angst, less kind of mindless selfishness. I feel like there is an element of selfishness at some parts of the journey, because there's a need to kind of retract into yourself and go to retreat and do plant medicine and do meditation and like take the time, because it's like to rewire your entire system in a way, because that's what it feels like. It's reformatting the energetics, and it's really sticky as shit when you first, especially when you're first starting. It's just like it's so jammed in there, and it's just so hard to even know where to start or what to do. And when you get in a social situations, or places where people need you to be a certain way, then it feels like kind of taking you away from that work. And sometimes it's, it is the work, because they bring up shadows in you, but you also need time to breathe and kind of let things unravel without too much jangly energy in your field. Part of me is afraid to exist so nakedly, flowing constantly into the complete unknown. My mind wants so badly to understand how I fit into some larger whole, even though it knows I probably never will. So yeah, for now, it went from this really dark, who the fuck put me in this fucking situation where I have to fucking feel all this fucking shit? I didn't ask for this, it's just sort of like I was so angry at the universe, uh, just so resentful of existence. And it was almost like I had to feel all the way through that without restraint, without fear, without like, oh, I shouldn't think that, oh, I shouldn't say that, oh. I was like, no, I went ahead and thought it, went ahead and said it to myself. And then I got a little encouragement from somebody that I have no reason to distrust. And it kind of clicked into another place where I'm just in a colorful mystery. Why do I need to be upset about it? Yeah, there's some sensations that can be uncomfortable. But when I can just relax, it's not necessarily so bad. Yeah, I'm going to disappoint people sometimes. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen next. But why orient toward resentment and resistance? I mean, why not just try, not doing that? And yeah, I can feel really like butterflies in my lower ribs. What the hell is going on? I'm not gonna know. Maybe if I steep in this enough, I don't know what'll happen. I don't know what I'm connected to, if anything. I don't know if there's a transmitter or a receiver or a message or anything that may come through and make more sense of anything. Most people tend to say, paradoxically, like, it'll deepen, you'll understand more and more, and also, yeah, we have no idea what's going on. So yeah, that's where I am. I'm trapped in vast, colorful amber. And sometimes joy sort of sneaks in. I can allow that too. At one point, I was kind of brought to my knees by something, and I was like, what is that? I was like, is that love? Is that appreciation? Is that gratitude? I still don't really know what it was, but anyway, I look forward to exploring this.